Love you guys.
Meantime, we've mentioned how long it's been, Draymond, that since we've had the Minnesota Timberwolves in the Western Conference Finals, goes back to 2004. Some of us were there for that for that series.
Oh, my goodness. Magic Johnson.
Damn, Chuck.
Look at Ernie.
I'll tell you that suit. I can
Ernie
make
had the goatee back there.
I can make 2 suits out of
I
that
still
suit.
had them terrible suits going.
Hey, stop being a hater, brother.
Hey, Chuck, I like big butts and I can't have
Look how much
big booty hanging over the seat.
That's funny, man. Magic Johnson, we love you.
Booty
Thank
was
you for
hanging over the seat,
everything.
Draymond. You see that big booty hanging over the seat?
Get a lot of rebounds with a big ass, brother.
Hey, Shaq was here too.
I
You know
sure
that.
was.
Shaq was here.
when?
Wait, he was?
Yeah, in
yeah,
2000,
playing.
back in 2004, he was playing against the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's right.
Minnesota was the #1 seed that year.
Yep.
You guys came in here and took the opener and took the series, Shaq.
Well, you know.
Nice defense, Shaq.
That wasn't Shaq, my
And I know we're
Well,
going
he's supposed to come over and help.
First of all,
Let Shaq talk about these highlights.
you know what? That's how you keep stealing image from me and Kenny, because every time we try to make a point, you interrupt us. Are you done interrupting me?
Yeah, I mean, we got. Oh, my gosh.
Anyway, Ernie, I know we're going to talk about it later, but it's a mentality that you have to have. We all know this as great players. And listen, they were the #1 seed, but when you get to this point, you have to turn your mentality button up. You have to say, especially because, listen, this is the prize. You want to win a championship. I think I won 1 or 2 before that. And I was actually 3, and we were trying to get #4, so I kind of knew what it was to turn that mentality up. And listen, they had the #1 seed. We knew what we had to do, and that was great time. So I'm anxious to see what mentality Edwards and Luka Doncic, because now that all the big names are out and everybody's talking about this new era, I'm anxious to see this series.
I think it's beautiful to see these guys back in 20 years, and I think the one thing that stands out to me is you had a generational talent then in Kevin Garnett, and you got a generational talent now in Anthony Edwards.
And
he's
Shaq.
carrying these guys. The attitude that he's given Cat and Rudy Gobert is the reason this team is still here. They're still battling and got a chance to win a world championship.
Let's take a look at Carmack's one-on-one and kind of the springboard to our conversation. These first 2 segments. Kind of like to talk Minnesota in this first segment, and then we'll turn our attention to Dallas in the second. But it begins with defense, begins and ends with defense. I'm sure you got an offensive firepower in Anthony Edwards, but defense is what's carried this team. And you see the opponent points when they win. It's 94 they hold teams to, and you see the other numbers, points off turnovers, in the paint, the rebound differential, and they're 6-0 when they hold teams under 100. They did that 4 times to the reigning champion Denver Nuggets in the series to get here. So what is going to be the key area from a Minnesota standpoint? Who's the most important player on this team?
To me, it's always Karl Anthony Towns, but it's going to have to be Karl Anthony Towns when he stops shooting threes and post up and use his size advantage. But to me, it's really going to be Naz Reid, because I think the Timberwolves are going to have to go small to play against the Mavs, because Kyrie and Luka, they're going to be going downhill. And it's going to be up to the smaller guys from the Mavs to step up and make threes. So for me, it's going to be Naz Reid and Karl. Karl's got to force his will upon those smaller Mavs, and Naz Reid is going to have to play a lot of minutes. Rudy Gobert is a terrific defensive player, but they're not going to go – the Mavs don't have a guy they go to in the post. So it's going to be up to them to go small and see how they can stop the Mavs three-point shooters. That's why, I watched tape the last couple days. I'm changing my pick. I'm going with the Mavs to win this series.
I thought you picked them the other day.
I know, I picked it. I got caught up in the moment after the game because the Wolves look great against Denver. But I think this is a game of matchups, and I'm switching my pick to the Mavs.
Kenny, who you got your eye on the Minnesota side?
Well, I think in the totality, with Mike Conley coming back, I think everyone's in their natural position. And I want to switch gears just a little bit, Ernie, in this, where, and no disrespect to Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and or Halliburton, but whoever wins this series, the face of the league is coming out. They have the 2 most polarizing guys with Luka Doncic and Anthony Edwards. So now, if they get to the finals, it won't be they won or lost. So it wouldn't be Boston won, it would be Luka lost. It wouldn't be Boston won, it would or Indiana won, it would be Ant-Man lost. So this is something different to me to watch from a fan standpoint, not an analyst, but as a fan who comes out and be the face of the NBA moving forward.
Wow. That was one of the dumbest things I've ever heard.
You don't think this is it?
No, I think, the Boston Celtics are the favorite.
No, they're not.
Nobody said favorite.
The Celtics are the
You're
favorite.
not listening.
No,
No, but I'm saying,
that's why
you got to
You're not listening.
I
I didn't say anything about winning and losing, did I?
You said that. Not everybody.
Are the
You said
favorite.
that. No, they're not.
And it ain't going to be if Luka won or Anthony lost.
they're
It's
not.
not going to be that. I think the Boston Celtics, if they can get Porzingis back, they're
If they
going
face
to be
any one of them teams, it ain't gonna be no easy win.
Oh, I didn't say it was going to be easy.
Okay, but you said they're the favorite. So
They are the
usually
favorites.
Okay, but usually when you say the teams are favorite, like the Golden State used to be in Lakers, but used to be, that means we're gonna win.
Facts.
You didn't win every time.
Well,
And the
you
Warriors
didn't win
every
any time.
I won 3 out of 4. That's 75%. What the hell are you talking about?
You didn't win every
Every time I was the favorite, I won. Yes, it is.
The Lakers, I'm not talking about that. Everybody thinks the Celtics are the favorite.
No, you. I don't.
Everybody.
But do we
No,
think
I'm not.
Porzingis gonna come back and just return to form
Well, I
after
think he got
missing
a
this
couple
much time?
weeks. I think he got
Anyway, Ernie.
to wrap up.
Yeah, you're right.
But the finals don't start for another couple weeks.
Let's save the Celtic talk until we
Yes.
talk about Game 1 of the Celtic-Pacers series, which
Got it.
was quite a game to see.
Yeah, I
as
was
it
just talking about this game, Ernie.
Yeah, I know, but
That's all.
when we talk about Anthony Edwards, and we've seen him go off in these playoffs, from a defensive standpoint, how are you going to slow him down?
So number one, you have to send multiple bodies, and the guy who's into the ball got to be pressed up. When you watch all of these clips, the guy has to be outside the three-point line. If you let Ant-Man start dancing, he gets this rhythm. You want to force these tough twos because you let him get all the way to the rim. He's a great finisher as well. And you see Aaron Gordon here. He's bodying him up, playing physical with him, not letting him get an easy catch. And I think Aaron Gordon has done a good job on him as anybody throughout these playoffs, making them take those tough twos. Those are the shots that you're willing to live with. Here he goes again. Every pickup point is above the three-point line. Hills on the three. And you keep making Ant take these tough shots with all the bodies behind you. That's how you got to make this team score, because Cat is a great scorer, but Rudy Gobert needs help scoring. Jalen McDaniels needs help scoring, and Mike Conley also needs help scoring, and they get going off Ant-Man, so got to send bodies at him and press up.
What I like about the Minnesota team is their resolve. You know, they won the first 2 games. Everybody was, oh, Minnesota. They lost 2. No quit in this team. They came back. You heard the young Ant-Man say, oh, I'll see you in Game 7. Went to Game 7. He didn't play well, but the others play well. LeBron talked about this the other day. You know, we talk about all the superstars, but the others have played. The Derek Fisher award goes to Mike Conley Jr. He hit some big shots in those games.
I agree with
He
that.
hit some big shots in those games, and, you know, I've said this ever since I've been here. I am big on the others. I wouldn't have 4 championships without the others. So the Minnesota others, if they can play well, I like them. I would have to disagree with Truck. If I was them, I'm not worrying about going small. I would feed Rudy Gobert early. Not talking about running plays, but when he rolls, let him eat a little bit. Let him eat a little bit. Keep him motivated so he can play defense. And don't worry about going small. Just do what you do. And I think, you know, Ant-Man, his mentality is there. He's happy to be here. Luka's thinking the same way. But if I'm Ant Minnesota, these first 2 games, we have to win.
Yeah, I think the biggest adjustment is for Dallas, because they've been playing big all year. So they know they've played against teams that play small, and then they could possibly put Naz Reid in and go smaller. I don't know if Dallas every day plays big teams, so they have to adjust to possibly, if it's working, if Rudy's blocking shots and Karl Anthony's posting up, now you have to make an adjustment that you've never made yet in the playoffs. So the biggest adjustment, no matter what, is going to be with Dallas to me, because Minnesota's made this adjustment, and they played against teams like Dallas.
Well, where I think it gets interesting for the Timberwolves is this. We keep saying Minnesota going small. They're going small as Naz Reid, who's the power forward center.
Yeah.
It's not your typical going small like we've seen teams doing over the years. And that's actually why
You're going small.
Absolutely. And that's actually why I think their advantage is when they go smaller, they still got another big. And Dallas aren't going to be able to throw as many bigs at Minnesota's bigs with Maxi Kleber out, and I think they're going to miss him a lot this series, and that's
the point I want to make. They got it because Rudy's a heck of a player, but he can't guard those 3-point shooters. But that's why I think PJ, Gafford, those guys got to play well. They just got to compete on the boards, because Kyrie and Luka are going to do their thing. But if they keep Rudy out there, they're going to get a lot of wide open threes. But if they did, that's the key. That's why I said Nas Reed to me is the key.
How important are rebounding and defense? Aren't those the cornerstones of championship teams?
Sometimes.
Rebounding and defense?
Absolutely. You definitely have to rebound the basketball, and you got to defend. And I think both of these
I
teams.
think that's what Minnesota does better than Dallas does.
Well, Dallas has been great defensively, though, the last half of the season in
Last
the playoffs.
20 games of the year, yeah.
They've been great defensively. Minnesota is a much better defensive team. But my X factor in this series is Kyle Anderson. Kyle Anderson, I think, has to have a big series for Minnesota. I think Minnesota win this series, but Kyle need to play well for this team.
Defense, obviously, is the most important thing, but styles make fights. This Dallas team, number one, they're better defensively. But Luka and Kyrie, they're a different animal because you got, number one, the Mavs going to have to stay out of foul trouble. If you have two guys, and Kid has been saying all playoffs, you got two guys that are probably the two best closers in the league. They're going to be a problem for the Wolves.
Let's talk more about the Dallas Mavericks after we take a break here as we come to you live from Target Center. Night one of the Western Conference Finals. Are Chuck and Shaq sharing a pair of shoes tonight?
What you wearing, Chuck?
I'm wearing some, I forget what they're called. Shout out to Freeman's.
I'm wearing some Shaqs.
Yeah. No, these ain't Shaq. I ain't wearing your shoes.
No, I'm wearing
Friedman's
Shaqs.
in Atlanta?
Yeah, I went there about 10 pair last
Wearing
week.
Shaqs, yeah.
Them the
Yeah,
same
yeah,
shoes, man.
Yeah,
No,
Kyle,
they're not.
Same
you're
style,
not.
same style.
These are profits. These
you
are
go.
profits, brothers.
Kyle,
Shout
great
out
job,
to Landon
Kyle.
Bruce and the guys at Freeman.
Good
These
job,
are
Kyle.
profits, brother.
We
Buy one,
are-